Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another Testosterone Tuesday, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and our good friends at Hydrate Heroes. We got lots to get to today. Like, anybody need a loan from Antoine Winfield Jr.? Holy hell, did he get paid? Did the Bucs pay too much for this guy? It's a lot of money for a safety, for God's sakes. We'll tell you why they didn't. The Rays win again last night. How about that? They freaking own the Red Sox. This is why we always say on this show, Boston is our bitch, and will continue to be. We'll get into the schedule release. We might even talk NBA as much as Tim hates it. So good morning to you, Tim Ham, our DSP affiliate in Dallas. Your Mavs completely collapsed last night. I was thinking of you as I was watching Kyrie Irving piss my money away on a parlay.
Well, when you shoot less than 50% from the free throw line as a team in a playoff game and both of your stars are off, that's what you get. You get a lot. And you know what? I'm shocked it wasn't worse. You know, the Mavs were running it. The Mavs were leading the whole game, and with about 3 minutes to play is when it all went south because Luka couldn't hit a couple of free throws to tie it at the end of the game.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, I had a couple parlays working last night in both NBA games. On the old Hard Rock app last night, and I hit 3 of 4 on each one. I need the Celtics to cover. I needed them to cover by 11.5, and they were up by 13 in the fourth quarter for most of the fourth quarter. And of course, they only won by 7. Those bastards. And then I needed Kyrie to go over. What was he, over 20 points last night? And I figured Luka's hurt. So they're going to lean on him to score mostly. And he played 41 minutes last night and scored, 6 points?
Yeah.
6 points.
It was ugly.
Kyrie Irving, Luka
had a triple-double. Luka scored a triple-double, and he was off his game. He was like 40%, I think.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But whatever. Well, we'll talk a little NBA maybe later in the show, but we got to get to the local stuff, which is most important, and that is the historic signing of Antoine Winfield Jr., who gets $45 million guaranteed in the first 2 years of this contract, $24 million next year, $21 million the year after that, and then a $19 million is not guaranteed. So $45 million total guaranteed in this package deal. Holy heck, that's a lot of money for us. He's the highest paid defensive back in the history of the league. Now we know why this took so long to get done.
Mm-hmm.
This took a long time, much longer than we thought it would to get done. Because I could see why Jason Light was like, nah, I don't know about this. Now, don't get me wrong. As far as the player goes, wow. I mean, it's hard to find a more dominant player. And in terms of a safety position, obviously he was all pro last year. The numbers are off the charts on every level, sacks, picks, passes, defense. I mean, there were some games where you thought he was the only guy on defense and the only guy you needed on defense. He's fantastic. He's everything you want in your culture. Not a very loud leader, but a leader by example. He's not a diva, certainly, and plays hard and plays smart. And he's and safeties, I think, I do think it's an underrated position in the game. I think some of the great, you look at the best defenses in the history, they've had all pro safeties and Hall of Fame safeties. And this guy's on track. He's 100% on track to do it. So, and this is what you got to keep in mind. It's the cap, right? It's the cap, silly. The cap is continuing to go up. And as the cap goes up, we got to adjust our parameters as far as what we see are huge contracts. Like, wow, you might, 5 years ago, you'd say that's completely overpaying for a safety, And it's borderline that right now. I mean, I think you could look at that contract, and I think there's a lot of people in the NFL that look at that contract and go, whoa, the Bucs completely overpaid for this guy. But there are times in this league where you underpay for guys on their rookie contracts. And right now, the Bucs, I think, have got 10 starters out of their last 2 draft classes. So you got a lot of productive players that are not making a whole lot of money. Those first 4 years, 5 years, guys don't make a whole lot of money compared to second contract free agent guys. So you're going to organically pay more for second contract guys. Now, and that's where you overpay. You overpay for those guys. So while you're, what's the alternative? You're going to let this guy walk? Hell to the no. And Antoine Winfield knew that. His agent knew that. They weren't letting him go. And so the agent beat him up a little bit. I think, I don't think there's any way else you can look at it. This is no hometown discount. He's going to be making more than Mike Evans. But Mike's made a ton of money in his career. Mike's on his third contract.
Yeah, and when people are talking about how much they overpaid for Winfield Jr., but when you look at it, don't look at it like they overpaid for a safety. Look at it like they paid their best defensive player, right? Because that's what this is. All right. Yes, he's a safety, and there's not many teams where you can say a safety is your best defensive player, but that's the case in Tampa, and he is their best defensive player, and that's why he got paid like it. So. And can I address this comment from James here real quick?
Yeah, I was just going to pop that up.
He wants to know why the Bucs guarantee most of the money in the first 2 years for a young guy, and it seems to be their MO. That's not just the Bucs, James. That's the entire league does that, because if you sign a guy to a 4-year deal and you've got 2 years on it guaranteed, that's basically a 2-year contract, because that means they can get out of it after 2 years. If you spread that guaranteed money out over 4 years, you're stuck with this guy for 4 years, regardless of how he's playing, and you have no out on the contract. That is to protect the team. So that's why and every single team does it with every single contract that has guaranteed money. It's in the first 2 or 3 years, and then you can be done with the player.
Yeah. And I think, with Winfield, and this may be, and you don't want to think about these things now, but his usefulness at his size, I always look back to a guy you remember Bob Sanders, who played for the Colts? He was, freaking, and you could even look at Polamalu as well. These undersized safeties that play super physical, they don't have a lot of longevity, although Polamalu certainly did. But Sanders, I think, was kind of and you can look at some of these other guys that, they flash for 3 or 4 years, and then they're just, they play so hard, they hit so hard, and they're undersized, it wears them out. It wears them out fast. And I'm not saying that's going to happen with Antoine. We hope he has a long career, but I think, that's the reality of the NFL. When you're playing at 5'10", 185, it's very rare to have a Rondé Barber type of career. It really is. Rondé, and of course, Rondé was special. He was really smart about how he played the game. I mean, he played it super physical, but he never led with his head. His technique and tackling was tremendously good. And he played with bigger shoulder pads and used those shoulder pads instead of using his body. And he avoided a lot of injury. Really, very, very smart. And of course, he's a tough MFer too. But these guys it's hard to stay healthy. Now he hasn't had a whole lot of injuries, but I think, for the Bucs, they're probably, is he going to be much more productive or more productive when he starts approaching age 30? It's going to be tough for him at his size. So I think what you said is spot on. And as the cap continues to go up, but I see where James is at. And don't forget, James, if they can always renegotiate this contract and spread it out. So they start with this one with all the guaranteed money up front. And as Tim said, this keeps it, very much a contract that if he does start getting injured, you can get out of, and you're not eating a whole bunch of dead cap. So, probably not the conversation we want to have for the day that we celebrate Antoine Winfield Jr., but it is what it is. And I think it's a good question. And I think it's a good answer as well. So you got your guy. And it's another great point Tim makes is you're not paying. And I think when you look at defense right now, especially, it's positionless, right? It's like basketball. It's become, you don't have any, forward center guard anymore. It's positionless basketball. It's positionless football too, especially on the defensive side, because you're asking Antoine Winfield to come down in the box sometimes, play the run, rush the passer, play deep safety, play all these different things because of his versatility and his instincts. So he's your best player. He's your most impactful player. He makes more plays than anybody on your defense. What does it matter if he's an edge rusher, a defensive tackle, a linebacker, or a corner? He's making plays on the field. He's your most versatile guy. So let's not get hung up in, he's a safety, because I saw a lot, you can't pay a safety that much money. That's dumb. That's dumb, because you're applying these old metrics. Oh, he's 20 yards off the ball and is only there to, prevent big plays. No, not the way they use Antoine Winfield. Look at the numbers. He's their biggest playmaker. And and Bowles is really good at putting him in positions to make plays. So yeah, you just paid your best defender, your best defensive player, $24 million a year. You broke the bank as far as safeties goes, and I'm completely okay with it. Completely okay with it. You don't want to lose the guy. And this is, it's also a culture thing. It's you want to reward guys like Levante David, who's the silhouette in the draft room. This is our prototypical Bucs player, right? And Antoine Winfield fits right into that as well. Here's some interesting sound, by the way. Talk about Nostradamus. So this is recorded May 20th, 2023. I guess it's his girlfriend or wife, or not sure, but a female is taking this video. And I love there's a part in it where she prompts him, and what to be the highest paid. Like she's like zeroed in on the money, which I think is, thank you, ladies. So let's listen. This is Antoine Winfield Jr. calling his shot. Let's see if we can get this.
Yeah, big season ahead. I think I'm the only one that see it. But that's just how I gotta be right now. That's how I gotta be.
What are you going for?
I want 10. I want all pro, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl. I want it all.
And the final goal?
Highest paid.
There we go.
Highest paid this year. Mark my words. I'm gonna come back to this video and be like, I did it. I probably shed a tear because all this work that we put in right now, we're gonna make it happen.
So it's May 20th, 2023.
Power of the tongue. You gotta speak it into existence. All pro, highest paid. All pro, highest paid. All pro, highest paid. And eventually, it's gonna become reality. So, stay tuned.
Okay.
Nice.
Emmy Awards, highest paid, Emmy Awards. All right, we'll come back in the year and we'll see how we're doing.
Yeah, right. We got the first one.
Easy. Yeah, we do have one of those regional Emmys. Yeah. But
there you go.
Here we go. You're calling your shot, highest paid, and I think he made sure that his agent got that done for him. So good for you. And you keep the band together. Continuity wins in this league. This is where you spend your money. You spend your money on the good players that you keep. That's where you overpay. So great job by Jason Light. Contract looks a little big right now. It won't as much in the future. And again, I think that whole concept of positionless playing, you paid your highest defender. That's where you kind of put the check marks on this deal. No question about it. By the way, Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30, so we'll get his take on this as well. And TJ Reeves at 11:30 will join us, and we'll chat with him about Antoine Winfield Jr., who he's interviewed many, many times, as has Scott. Also, on the Bucs front, we got schedule releases coming out and leaks coming out. But the Cowboys are at Cleveland, right? For the Sunday primetime 4 o'clock. Is it a 4:30 game?
Yeah, 3:15, 4:15, yeah, whatever the time is, yeah.
So Brady's first game on Fox.
In the words of an immortal coach on the sideline that was mic'd up one time, this is going to be an effing disaster.
I put it out there yesterday. I said, yeah, I can't wait for him to tell us how wonderful and incredible Dak Prescott is and how misunderstood Deshaun Watson is. I don't see, and hopefully I'm wrong, because Brady is great at everything he does, right? And for the most part, except crypto, and relationships.
And maybe marriages.
Let's revisit the
I got a lot of room to talk in that field too. Like
ditto. Yeah, he's good at everything. So will he be critical? Will he be critical of Dak Prescott's playoff record? And here's the thing about Brady. And you could probably speak this better than I. Aikman obviously played in your market. So when he first became a broadcaster, was he critical of the guys playing now? Like Tony Romo, I got to give him credit. He was, I don't think he's super critical, but he somewhat, but never really of guys that he knows very well, and especially in the beginning. And this is the problem when you have guys that are just coming out of the league going into the booth. They know all these quarterbacks and they're friends with them. And can you really see him taking Dak Prescott to task or Deshaun Watson? I really can't, unless he's going to completely break out of character and stop being a politician and really, because you see Brady in his, mic'd up moments. He's a critical SOB.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very critical SOB of other people in the mic'd up moments sometimes, and that get leaked out. So what he says publicly and what he says privately are two tremendously different things. And if you're a broadcaster, you can't do that. You can't do that because people will see right through you. But I also think that people think there's an agenda. Oh, when he starts criticizing Aaron Rodgers, for instance, if he ever does.
Yeah.
He's a Jet, and some of these guys that maybe have been, I won't say his nemesis at times, but because there are none of those, he's defeated everyone. Handled
Eli Manning,
except Eli, right? So is he going to be critical? And if he is critical, which he probably won't be, will people say he's got an agenda, et cetera, et cetera? So I don't know. He's still talking about coming back and playing. So is he even going to make it to the booth? We'll see.
And I 100% think Tom Brady has an agenda. 100%. There is no doubt in my mind that he has an agenda right now. That agenda is to continue to build his personal brand. Exactly. And he thinks that right now broadcasting is the best way to do that. Does it mean he's going to be good or bad? No, I don't think he's going to be very good, to be quite honest with you. But I didn't think Troy was going to be very good because back when Troy was with the Cowboys, he was a terrible interviewee.
Mr. Cliche.
Dude, you had to get, exactly. And you had to just like fish for words and for answers from him. And I thought there's no way this is going to translate. And he wasn't really very good his first year. He wasn't very critical of the Cowboys or any players or any teams. But it took, I'm sure Joe Buck got a hold of him because he was already a seasoned veteran doing play-by-play. And I bet you that Joe and his producers got a hold of him and said, man, you just got to cut loose on some of these guys. We know you played with them, but that's what people want to hear. That's right. Why you're here, because you've got the football brain and you need to show everybody you've got a football brain. And by year 2 and 3, dude, Troy was there. He was there. And now, of course, he's so far removed from all the players and everybody. He's great. I think he's great. Romo got into it, I think, a little quicker. Romo would not be, so he wouldn't be real quick to bash on players or to critique players so much, but he would put it in the sense of like the whole team.
Right.
So when he was doing Cowboys games in year 1 or year 2, he wouldn't say anything bad necessarily about Zach, but he would reference the passing game needs to do this. The passing game needs to accomplish this and that,
right.
Rather than, Dak, man, he missed that throw. But now, dude, I think he's just, and there's a lot of people critical of Tony, and I still think he's great.
Yeah.
Is that going to translate to Brady? I don't know, because I don't know that Brady cares if he's a good broadcaster. I think all Brady cares about is he's trying to build his personal brand, continue to build his personal brand. He may get tired of broadcasting in 4 or 5 years and go do something else, or he may retire from broadcasting next season and come play quarterback for somebody. You just don't know.
I think he's going to get back into the competition phase of the game as a general manager, probably with the Raiders.
Yeah,
I would think, but I think for right now, he feels like I can make a crap ton of money that with Fox is going to pay me, and I keep my brand out there and keep my face out there. And what will he do? You'll be a politician, because if you're trying to keep your brand out there, it's the old Michael Jordan, Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah.
You're not going to offend anybody. You're going to be, as vanilla as you possibly get, to smile and get your dimples out there and be the all-American boy. But you're not going to say anything of consequence. I don't think. We'll see. Hopefully he surprises me. And he's a prick, because that'll be good. That'll be great TV, right?
Yeah.
It'll be honest. If he's honest as he can be, that would be fantastic. I mean, and I would actually tune in to hear him do to talk about guys that if I really feel like he's being honest. But I think that's the furthest thing from his mind.
I still think I'd rather see him in a studio analyst setting than in the booth. I think he would be better suited for something like that, to be honest with you. But who knows?
Yeah. The studio stuff has become unwatchable, though.
It's all scripted. It's so scripted.
So unwatchable. Like, I used to watch these pregame shows all the time, and now it's just so. it's so unwatchable because a lot of the people on there are unwatchable, and it's hard. But anyway, we digress. So the Bucs schedule will be out Wednesday. All the entire NFL schedule comes out tomorrow, right? Tomorrow evening. Are they doing it? Are they going to do it? NFL Network reveal show? Because they pushed it back a week. It was supposed to be last week.
Yeah.
It
seems like they do that every year, don't they? The teams
know.
do their little schedule release videos, and then NFL Network does a little something on it and shows some of those videos. I think I don't know.
Was it 3 years ago? I got to find this old piece of video. I actually got the real schedule leaked to me. Last year, I think I got a fraud schedule, but the 2 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago, someone leaked it to me. It was absolutely 100% correct.
Wow!
And we did a nice little video with Tally bringing me the schedule. Like, oh, well,
that's cool.
If I could find that, we'll repurpose that. It was
cool.
pretty fun. Yeah. So we'll see. And there's obviously some already been some announcements. The Jets are at the 49ers. So Aaron Rodgers gets the toughest defensive line in defense in football to eat his lunch. Oh no, that's not. I don't know if that's good. I guess it's going to be good ratings, but he's in mortal danger.
Oh man, poor Mike Greenberg. Mike Greenberg was inconsolable this morning on Get Up talking about that. He's like, come on, guys, what do we have to do to not get a matchup like this for game one?
And the Jets have been dreadful on Monday night, have they not? They've just been dreadful. Yeah. Too bad, boys.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Some comments coming in quickly. Rick is up this morning. Wonderful. Top Bowles pitched in $20 million for saving his job.
Maybe.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
That's a good investment right there. I think that's his mom. What?
The girl in the Winfield video filming.
Is it his mom?
I don't know.
His mom's like highest paid. Damn.
Pretty sure that's what he's talking about.
Damn right. Yeah. James says, Garrett, we did that one already. Always guarantee most of the first couple of years that is their MO. And then they go back and they, because that gives them more flexibility. You can always go back and rework the contract. If the guy gets injured, though, you can kind of get out of it. If he's playing well and he's being productive, then you can get that salary cap relief. Right. So it definitely gives you much more opportunity to be more nimble in the salary cap. Nathan says, overpaid for Winfield. Bucs do not win the division or make the playoffs without those goal line fumble plays. Oh, God, yes. I'm not saying that, by the way. There's other people out there saying it. As we said, this is positionless football. You're not paying a safety or overpaying a safety. You're paying your best defender who makes all your plays. Yeah, and those goal line plays are just, they're otherworldly. He's such a smart player, and he combines that smart and instinctual ability with incredible physical ability, speed, power, everything you want in a player, and just a great attitude. He says, I'm not going to question, James says, I'm not going to question Bucs brass. The next will be a huge deal for Tristan. I bet the Bucs will spread that money more than 2 years, guys.
Man, I don't know about that.
Well, for a left tackle, and again, I do think his size and his position come into play here. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of it. And with a left tackle like Tristan, left tackles seem to have a lot more longevity, do they not? They can play late into their 30s and still be very effective. So yeah, I think, if you want to lock Tristan up for 6-7 years, as much as you can. Bucs rewarded their best defensive player, and soon they will reward their best offense. Right. Absolutely. They will. All right, so that's what's going on in Buckland. We're going to talk with Scott Reynolds a little bit more about the rookie camp because he was out there all weekend as well. All right, the Rays last night beat the Red Sox 5-3, and got a couple breaks to go their way. Abed Rosario, first inning, scorches one to center field, and was it Rafaela? I thought he had it. What an incredible layout, completely horizontal, and it hits his glove and bounces away. He gets a triple. It's a 2-run triple. And then Caballero drops one inside the right field line that it looked like it was going to be caught, but it wasn't. He turns that into another run, and the Rays pitch well. Bullpen did their job, and they get a nice win. The Red Sox pitching has been really, really good, and the Rays are starting to play better baseball. I even saw, I'm watching the game last night. I'm flipping back and forth between some of the playoff games, but there was a couple of moments, an infield fly where there's a runner on second base, and third base was kind of left uncovered for a little bit. And you saw two guys hustling over to cover third base. And it seems like 2 weeks ago, nobody was hustling anywhere. Nobody was backing up anything. It was the laziest, crappiest baseball you'd seen. And then Kevin Cash calls a meeting, and I think he turned over some tables and ripped some ass that needed to be ripped.
Mhm.
And they have started to play much more heads up baseball. They've started, you see the hustle, you see the backups, you see the old Rays way. And, you just ask yourself, why the hell did it take that long? I mean, it's, 2 months into the season, and these guys have been playing uninspired, flat, emotionless, crappy baseball. And, here we sit, but they're at 500 again. They've played, a pretty soft schedule for the most part, and they need to be better in these next coming weeks. And they did a nice job last night on the road in Boston. That's a great start to the road trip. They've now won 7 of 10, which is big, and they're starting to get some of their guys back. And Yandy had 3 hits again last night. He's got 5 multi-hit games in his last 10. He's starting to hit the baseball. Arena's starting to hit the baseball. So you're starting to see these guys get a little bit more locked in. And this is the Rays team that we wanted to see. Taj Bradley is back. Doesn't look like Pepio is going to be on the DL very long. You'd like to see Josh Lowe really, really start going, but that might take a little bit. But there's no question about it. This, with DeLuca playing the way he's played, and Rosario went through a little 3 for 27 slide, but it looks like he's contacting the ball again. They start getting everybody going. This team definitely could win some games in the regular season. I still don't see, they still don't have the magic, big bopper sluggers that you're going to need for postseason. We'll worry about that if the Rays get there. But right now, they're definitely trending in the right direction. Good.
No longer last place in the division, right? So I mean, that's you got the Blue Jays to thank for that.
Thank you, Toronto. Thank you, Toronto.
But and you own the Red Sox, which they're right above you in the standings. The question is, do you have enough of a late season push to catch the Yankees or the Orioles? Probably not, unless one of those two teams just collapses.
It just, to me, it's the Yankees are just better. Their lineup is so freaking good. And I know that always hasn't translated into wins, but they seem to be a little bit more balanced. Thank God they continue to have a manager that's just, I don't know why the hell that Aaron Boone still has that job.
I don't either.
How many times would the old man have fired him by now?
More times than he fired Billy Martin.
Probably. I mean, you just can't. You got to do something at some point to change the leadership on that team. But that's their problem. Maybe they'll be strong enough to get through it this year. There's no creativity there. There's just I don't see it with him. But whatever, that's their problem, not the Rays' problem. They keep him as long as you can. If you're a Rays fan, it's like, keep him around as long as you can. Don't spark this team in any way, because they're too freaking talented. And that's, the way that with the payroll that they're able to spend, that's the way they should be. So I still think the Yankees are better. I still think Baltimore's better. I think the Orioles got a lot better in them. And I think they'll start to play better as well. So I think it's still, I think the Rays are still the 3rd or 4th best team in this division. I said 85 wins. I'm sticking to it. I don't think they make the playoffs, but they've got, they're starting to wake up a little bit. And if they can get everybody clicking at the same time, every team says that, right?
Yeah.
And they've got some guys coming on the horizon, especially arms that are going to be able to help them out. But the bullpen is still a little bit unsettled. The lineup, again, against great pitching has just not been good. So we'll see. But that win last night was big, because I thought going against the Red Sox pitching, especially the pitchers that they're facing and all their ERAs sub 2, sub 3, really, really good starters. And they're not a bad baseball team. I think they're coming out of the Heim Bloom funk.
They need to, meanwhile over here in Texas, everybody's hurt. I'm going to change the logo to a red cross or something for the Rangers this season. It's funny. We always have this photo that a bunch of us share on social media whenever the Rangers bullpen blows a lead or blows, whatever, allows a bunch of runs. And it's basically a picture of the inside of the stadium with a dumpster out in the bullpen that's on fire.
Yes.
I'm about to just change it to put a bunch of ambulances on the field, like in every position where somebody's hurt, where there's just an ambulance or a paramedic or something, because it's, and I can't explain it. As far as the pitching goes, I want to know what your thoughts are on this, because everybody's blaming the pitch clock for pitcher injuries the last couple of years.
Didn't
I
it start
don't
well?
see that.
Didn't it start well before that?
I think it did. I think it's just the way pitchers are throwing the ball now. It's mechanics that are being taught. I think it's bad for pitchers to not go longer than they're going sometimes. You know what? Does that make sense? Like, I get going too many pitches. You don't want your guy throwing, 150 pitches on 3 days rest every 3 days, but just to throw a guy out there sometimes for 50 or 60 pitches, then let him rest, and then 5 days later he comes back and throws another 80, and then he waits 5 days. Sometimes I think that's bad for the body.
Yeah, I do. It seems to me, talking to John Smoltz and many times as we've had him on our show and even privately talking to him. I remember having dinner with him and a couple other baseball guys up in Chicago, and we started talking about that. And he'd always go back to Leo Mazzoni, his pitching coach. I mean, Leo had him throwing all the time. He was all about building up arm strength.
Yeah.
And look how durable that group was for so long. And I think you go back to just the way baseball is played now. To me, it's more about, these kids come to the big leagues and they've thrown probably 4 or 5 times as many innings as, Nolan Ryan did when he was a youngster, because Nolan Ryan was playing football and all these other sports. These kids now are playing baseball 24/7. And they're throwing max velocity all the time. I don't think Cy Young was throwing max velocity back in the days when he was doing, pitching both ends of the doubleheader. These guys were, they were fooling people with off-speed stuff. When they needed to hump it up, they humped it up. But now it's like, no, even when you throw your slider, it has to be max effort, max spin. And I don't think the arm is meant to take it. And guys are stronger. So, when you got, bigger chest, bigger arms, bigger legs, bigger everything, the tendons are only so strong. That ulnar collateral ligament is only so strong. It can only handle so much torque and so often. And as the great Mike Marshall once told me, when you're throwing the ball like this, when you're twisting in a slider motion, it's direct conflict between your elbow, your arm, and everything else. That's what creates the spin. Right. When you pronate like this and you throw a screwball, which is what he threw, or a split finger, you're not, or even a fastball where you're going right down the line, you're not putting that torque on the elbow and that ulnar collateral ligament, which is why they always said don't throw curveballs before you're 12 years old till your arm's fully developed. Kids are throwing them at 8 years old now. Yeah. So you're just putting so much torque on that ligament that it just can't hold up. It's just a physical impossibility. It's absolutely inevitable that you're going to get Tommy John with the way these in the organizations and the Rays who are kind of on the forefront of this. They're like, they don't care. Just keep getting arms and keep going through them. But we want you to do max effort, max spin. And when we use you up, we'll just bring in another guy. And it sounds dirty and it sounds horrible, but that's the business of baseball now.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate for the players. Who won't. That's why, like I said before, we're not going to have another guy with a Nolan Ryan type career or a Roger Clemens type career that plays in the league for 20 seasons, to get all of these big pitch numbers and hunt down some of these long-time records, because that's not the way the game's played anymore. They don't care.
Nope, they don't care. They're disposable. All right, let's transition to a little football talk with our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. Brought to you by all of our great sponsors, since we're not taking a break right now. Jeeves Law Group, we thank you very much. Italiano Insurance, thanks to all of our great sponsors, Hydrate Heroes, Golden Diamond Source, et cetera, et cetera. What's up, Scotty? How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Fantastic. You have the schedule leak, right? You have it right there?
Oh, do you guys want me to reveal it right now?
Yeah, please. I know you get it
I don't
early.
have it now.
Oh.
Sorry.
Tally gave it to me 3 years ago. I don't know where she got
nice.
it, but she gave it. I'm like, she's like dead on the floor doing nothing.
Come on, Tally.
Come on. You're better than that. You're better than that.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Poor puppy.
So we're starting to cross off teams that are like on our schedule that are already being revealed. So who's left for the first game? The Falcons, the Panthers. What's your guess for the opener? Go ahead,
I don't know. The NFL typically likes to make the Bucs start on the road.
Right.
And that's something that really dating back to the Rich McKay days when he was general manager. He wanted that because, as you know, living in Florida,
it's freaking hot.
It's brutally hot.
Right.
So that first game away is actually kind of welcomed by the team. And it might mean for like a little bit more of a challenge, although, this is a team that's risen to the challenge. You look back at, at last year, winning on the road at Minnesota, Todd Bowles' first season. They won at Dallas on Sunday Night Football.
Yep,
So, they're not afraid of that whatsoever. And then typically, and not always the case, but typically the next game is a home game for the Buccaneers, and it's usually later in the afternoon, 4:00, which is the heat of the day. But at least you're going to get that reprieve because it is going to get a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
As well, if that's a thing in Florida,
a little bit
it's going to be less hot.
Yeah, less hot
at 6:00 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Than it would be if you started at 1:00, and it's going to only continue to get hotter. So that's something that the league has kind of quietly accommodated Tampa Bay with. And I wouldn't be surprised if that continues. And I think at the same time, too, you look at that week 3 primetime game that the Bucs had last year, Monday night, right? In primetime against the Eagles. Again, I think if Tampa Bay is going to get a home game that's going to be in primetime, I wouldn't be surprised if it's early, just to help accommodate the Buccaneers and the fans and the visiting team from baking in the equator that can be Raymond James Stadium in September and October.
No, I when the schedule comes out, I think if you're a fan, the first thing you're looking at is how many 1:00 September and October games do we have? And let's hope it's none.
Right.
Because it's brutally hot, and you don't want it. And start on the road because that gives you, you're not playing the week before.
Yeah.
That's one last game during the year that you got to get ready to go onto the road. So I'd rather start on the road.
I'll tell you what, Bruce Allen, former general manager for the Buccaneers, he said week 3 is really one of the most critical weeks in the NFL, right? Because the whole goal is to avoid the dreaded 0-2 start. Because if you go 0-2, the chances of you making the playoffs that year are incredibly slim. That's just a statistic that dates back decades in this league. So the theory is by week 3, either be 2-0 or 1-1. And if you start on the road and you steal that road game, as the Bucs have been able to do the last 2 years, then it sets up an opportunity for you to come home and be 2-0.
Right.
And that takes a little bit of pressure off in week 3, because if you do stub your toe, you're still 2-1, right? But if you lose that home game in week 2, hypothetically, like let's say you go on the road and you lose, now you come home and you got to kind of win that home opener, right? Otherwise you're 0-2, and it puts a lot of pressure on you early in the season in week 3. So Bruce Allen didn't know a whole bunch, but I think he was dead on about that, because week 3 is a real critical day. And it's something general managers and head coaches kind of know, and they don't really talk about. It's a little bit of like inside poker, but that's kind of how it is. And so for the Buccaneers, that first home game, whether it is week 1 or week 2, it's critical. But this is a team that's not fazed by having to go on the road in week 1.
All right, so let's talk a little about rookie minicamp. You were out there to see the young guys, and we preface this by saying it's underwear Olympics. Right. We know all this, no football, pads. Yeah. What you do get a feel for is in talking to the players, what kind of guy they are, what kind of professional they are. And I think you can get some, I just watched the video you guys put up of Graham Barton coming off the ball and showing his quickness and agility, and that was eye-popping.
It was.
Holy crap, that dude is big and he's mobile. He's light on his feet. I mean, he does not lumber at all. Right. He looks like a light tight end almost in terms of the way
he's a bigger Ali Marpet. I mean, he's 10, 15 pounds heavier than Marpet. That's kind of what he is. And that's what was so attractive, to me about him during the scouting process, and obviously to the Buccaneers as well. And he's been there and done that. And that's what was kind of communicated to me a little bit by the powers that be during this rookie minicamp, is like, they were not surprised with how quickly he transitioned to center, because he had that foundation. It's like riding a bike. He did it for 5 games as a freshman during a COVID season, right? With the challenges there, he got thrust into the starting lineup and handled it swimmingly well. And then he happened to be the most athletic offensive lineman. And what happens in college programs happens at Kansas State, probably at Florida State too. They stick your ass out at left tackle because
you're the best
premium position. Whether that's going to be your home in the NFL or not, if you're athletic and you're big enough, you're good enough to play left tackle in college. And that's typically what happens. And so this is not the Luke Gedeke played right tackle moving into left guard, or Cody Malk played left tackle and moving into right guard. This is a center who played 3 years at left tackle and he's going back to center. That's how the Buccaneers view it. And when you look at how quickly he snaps the ball and fires out and just the technique, it's not flawless, but damn, it's close. I mean, this guy, he is as pro ready as they come, in my opinion. And I think the only thing that's missing is just kind of like, he's just got to shake off a little bit of rust from being out there in space. But the action happens so fast when you don't have that room to move that space playing one of the tackle positions where, like, you know, in your pass pro, you can shuffle back 3 or 4 steps and not have any contact yet, right? Like that edge rusher, you know, could be, you know, like a ghost step, a head fake, a hard rush to the outside. It might be 3 or 4 steps before there's contact. That's not the case inside. It's now. It's first step, boom, you got contact. And he's big enough, and he's got some experience to lean on. And I think it's just shaking off a little bit of rust, and this guy's going to be fine at center.
Elijah Klein looked like when I first saw Cody Malk, I was like, those are some narrow hips.
Yeah.
For an inside guy. I was like, he ain't got the ass that some of these other boys have. Yeah. And when I saw Elijah Klein, I was like, that's a big ass. That dude is big. He is big and he is wide.
Square body.
And he's he is built like an interior lineman. Is he not?
He is. He is.
Yeah.
And I like that he has that mentality too. He's got that kind of brawler, you know, junkyard dog mentality. Not afraid of competition. Actually, some of his best film was going into Oklahoma and playing the Sooners when UTEP did that. So he is not afraid of the spotlight, not afraid of the competition. And you got to put him in the mix. Yeah. You've got guys like Ben Bredesen and Sua Opeta who have NFL experience, and it might be a thing where it's almost like Yaya Diaby, where one of these guys starts and then eventually Klein ends up taking over. The interesting thing is, from a dollar standpoint, Ben Bredesen's making about $3 million. Sua Opeta, who might be the early favorite, is making like half that. He's making like $1.3 million this year. So if the worst case scenario is Opeta and Bredesen are backups, I think they're better, bigger, stronger backups than Nick Leverett and Aaron Stinney were. And so when you get to that situation where you need some depth and you got to lean on somebody with experience to step in for an injury, boom, you've got better guys to stick in. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Who else caught your eye out there?
You know, Chris Braswell on Saturday's practice, the very first rep, you know, it's supposed to be non-contact. I mean, there's like a little contact that's pushing and shoving. It's patty cake, right? That's what they're doing. The first snap of 11 on 11, he just kind of fired out on Tanner Tala, who's not a small tight end. He's about 6'6", 255, and just hit him like right here on the shoulders, just boom, stood him up, and like literally with just one extension, rocked him back into the backfield, right? And Tanner Tala has a year's worth of experience in the NFL under his belt. He was in the practice squad all of last year. He's been through practice. He's gone up against, you know, the likes of
Diaby,
Shaq Barrett, Diaby, all that stuff as a practice squad player. So for him to kind of get rocked like that, maybe he wasn't expecting it, but I don't know. I mean, that was pretty impressive. Braswell, I think, is one of those guys that man, you almost want to fast forward to year 2. I think he's going to have some moments as a rookie that are going to be really good and that are going to be tantalizing and make you go, "Whoa, this guy! All right, okay, I see what they got here." But just get him in that weight program, that off-season conditioning program where there's no Senior Bowl, there's no combine training, there's no Zoom interviews and top 30 visits. It's just, I'm a Buccaneer the entire offseason.
Right.
And I think I like we're going to see with Diaby this year. I fully expect him to take a Herculean jump this year. It may not manifest itself into like necessarily more sacks. Like Yaya might have 8 sacks this year, but might be a better player down in and down out, and might have more pressures, more tackles for loss, better against the run, right? I'm not saying that you have to have 10 or 12 or 14 sacks to take a huge step. You don't, because a sack, while it's great and it's what gets you in the league, it's what gets you paid, as Warren Sapp would say, it's what gets you in the Pro Bowls. It's one play. At the end of the day, it can be a very important play. If it's on third down, it counts more. If it's a sack, fumble, and fumble recovery, it counts even more, right? When it manifests itself into a turnover. But I think with Chris Braswell, this is a guy I could see getting between 3 and 7 sacks as a rookie. And we'll see what type of role, whether it's a designated pass rusher, whether it's a part-time, rotational guy, or whether he emerges as the starter. He's got some really interesting tools to work with. And I think, like Diaby, he's a little bit of a one-year wonder that has a lot of untapped potential.
Scott, before rookie minicamp started, Jason Light talked about Chris Godwin moving to slot a little bit. And I was a little thrown by that, considering you just drafted Jalen McMillan in the 3rd round, who primarily played in the slot his final 2 years at Washington. He worked on the outside a little bit his sophomore year there. But what's the thought process behind moving a guy like Godwin into the slot and taking him away from the outside instead of putting somebody like McMillan in there who's done it the last 2 years?
Well, I think Godwin's best usage has been in the slot. If you look from 2017, 2018, under Dirk Cutter, he was a good receiver. He became that 1,000-yard receiver, and it was a Pro Bowler in 2019, which was the first year that Bruce Arians came and put him in the slot in that Larry Fitzgerald role. So I think with Godwin, and you got to remember, Jason Light has not only drafted the best receiver in Bucs history, he's drafted the 2nd best receiver in Bucs history too, right? I mean,
that's right.
It's a pretty good 1-2 punch right
in
there.
The 3rd round.
In the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And so with Godwin, they're going to make him do the same thing they did with Mike last year. You got to play your contract year. You're 28. You're going to be 29 next year. Play your contract year out. And then we'll talk about an extension, because it's a big number, right? It's $20 million right now for Godwin. And is he worth that? Is he worth more? Is he worth less? I will say he's got to put more touchdowns on the board to truly maximize his value. His touchdowns have gone from, if I remember correctly, from 9 to 7 to 5 to 3 to 2 in terms of receiving touchdowns over the past 5 years. Okay, that's going the opposite way.
And that's
now
with
Mike
the
Evans
involved as well.
Yeah, Mike Evans chews into that a lot because he is the primary touchdown producer. But you want Godwin ideally to be able to chip in 5 to 7 touchdowns a year, right? I think the floor is 5 and then go from there. He's capable of putting 9, 10 on the board. It's just a matter of getting open and all of that. I think he works better in the slot. I think he has a natural feel for taking full advantage of nickel corners, linebackers, and safeties, as opposed to that Jalen Ramsey stud cornerback on the outside. I just don't think at his age, with the injury history, and even his initial skill set, I don't know that he was best equipped to do that. I think he's found his niche, and that's inside. It's just like Rondé Barber. Rondé Barber, back in the day with Monty Kiffin, he was not a nickel corner. He was a outside corner on 1st and 2nd down, and he became a nickel corner on 3rd downs or in obvious passing situations, right? He wasn't the guy that came off the bench. He was on the field all 3 downs. It just he played outside and played inside. But where did the magic happen with Rondé? It happened in the slot, right? The pick 6 to send the Bucs to the Super Bowl, all those sacks, they came in the slot. He went from being a very good outside corner to being an exceptional nickel corner, all within just 1 down. And so I think with Godwin, he's a very good outside receiver. He's just there inside. And I think the team's doing him a favor, Tim, by giving him this contract year and putting him in the best position to succeed. As we've seen, the Bucs, they don't mind paying their own when they produce and when they're worth it. But if Chris Godwin has, say, 1,014 yards and 80 catches, 85 catches, and 2 touchdowns, I mean, is that $20 million worth of receiver right there? I don't know. But what if it's 95 catches for 1,250 yards and 7 touchdowns, right? Now you're okay. All right, we got a guy here we don't mind investing maybe 3 more years in. And with McMillan, you have a guy that has played that Z flanker position and can do that. And he'll eventually be the replacement for Chris Godwin. Or maybe McMillan thrives so much outside, but then you know what he can do. And you know that it might be a similar move. Like, he's really good outside, but holy crap. I mean, we might have the next Godwin here inside.
Right.
And then you look at where you're allocating your assets and you think, okay, well, let's plug Trey Palmer in at the Z next year, and we'll put McMillan in the slot, and we'll say, Chris, thank you so much for all that you've done for Tampa.
Right.
But man, that's a $20 million investment that we get other guys that we'd like to maybe invest in.
We just paid our best defender $24 million for the next year, which brings me to Antoine Winfield. And it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But as we said in the beginning of this broadcast, we're not paying a safety. We're paying the best defender.
Playmaker.
And
this is playmaker money. This is not safety money. This is not defensive back money. This is playmaker money.
Right.
And that's
it's okay. And that's okay.
It is.
Right?
Yes, it is okay. And you know what? The thing too is like, is he going to have this kind of caliber of season again? I don't know. I'm certainly not going to say he won't. He's capable of doing it, right? I mean, he's shown he can do it. If you show you can do it again. That's within you to do that, right? But is it going to look the same? There might be a sack or two less. There might be, an interception less. There might be 2 fumbles recovered less, or maybe 2 forced fumbles less. But what you're going to get is you're going to get a guy that can take the ball away through the air and by knocking it out, that can rush the passer and get him on the ground, that can make huge touchdown-saving tackles, huge end zone touchdown-saving pass breakups, right? And sometimes the law of averages, like over a career, it's going to be there with Winfield because he's that type of player. This might have been like a crest this year. There might be a little bit of an ebb next year, but there's another crest coming the next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy you want to invest in. Rondé Barber didn't have 10 interceptions every year, right? There was a couple years he had 2, but he's still Rondé Barber, And I think that's what fans kind of need to understand and head into the season with. Hey, it'd be great if this guy had 3 picks and 6 sacks and 6 forced fumbles and 4 fumble recoveries again and over 120 tackles, and 12 pass breakups. That'd be great. Okay. But this was a Herculean season. I mean, this was a season that I put up there with Derek Brooks's 2002, that I put up with Warren Sapp's 2001, where he had 16 and a half sacks, Shaq Barrett's 19 and a half sack season, and a couple of Rondé Barber's just pinnacle seasons. It was a little bit of a once in a lifetime season, but he's capable of doing it again.
Well, especially when he was put in the right position after playing a year out of position. 122 tackles, 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, 12 passes defensed, and how many forced fumbles? At least
6.
2 at the goal line.
He had 6 to lead the league and 4 fumble recoveries. So
that's production. That's what you call production.
When you fill the stat sheet. I mean, the only thing this guy hasn't done is a pick 6, and yet he did that in the Pro Bowl. Yeah. Back before the flag football version, when they actually threw the ball and you did the 2-hand touch. At least it was before they put the flags on. But yeah, he picked off Patrick Mahomes in the Pro Bowl. So his lone Pro Bowl appearance, I think back in 2001. So he's got that. He just has got to do it, and I guess the safety too. He needs a safety.
Well, and the other part is, now he's got some mates back there that are going to help him as well.
Yes.
Jordan Whitehead, I think that those two reunited helps Winfield as well.
Or benefit from him. See, that's the thing. It's like, if you're looking for 31, right, other guys are going to feed. That's what happened. Rondé Barber has 10 interceptions, career high 10 interceptions in 2001, the year before the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And then cornerbacks were scared to throw his way. And so what happened the next year? Brian Kelly had 8. Yeah. Like a career high 8. And this was a guy that had struggled with his hands early in his career, right? Yeah. But they just kept throwing at Brian because they didn't want to mess with Rondé. Right. And so he fed off of that. And then of course Rondé came through when it counts in the postseason. But it just that's what makes you a playmaker, is not when you just make plays for your team, but you help your teammates make plays too.
And any other guys out there, the rookies that kind of caught your eye? I know Devin Culp's, he's put on some weight. Kalen DeLoach put on some weight as well. The undrafted kid out of Florida State. So, guys that showed up a little bit bigger off their combine weight, right? They drop 10, 15 pounds to run quick, and they get back to their football weight.
Correct. Yeah. So Culp was 231 at the combine, weighed in at 235 last season. He's already up to 245. So he's he's making progress. Now, some of that weight's going to come off during training camp, right, when it's really hot. And when these guys from the Northwest, like Bucky Irving and Devin Culp and Jalen McMillan, probably going to be a little bit of a culture shock to the system with the subtropical climate we had down here in Florida. And I think too, it's just hydration. I think if you're going to pencil in some guys that have some calf strains and hamstring injuries, might be those guys just because they're not used to these type of conditions. Cameron Johnson, the receiver from Barton College, kind of flashed a little bit. He's a smaller guy, 5'10", 170, a little bit bigger than Devin Tompkins. He was a player that was one of the new guys that they signed, that you could just kind of see the speed and the athleticism. He kind of flashed a little bit. I think all the draft picks made really good first impressions. I just think, again, there's going to be a couple stars emerge, and then the rest of the class is going to be really, really solid. And I think when you stack this class with the production they've got in terms of finding starters out of the last two draft classes, this is getting to be a good habit to be in. When you're Jason Light and you're John Spytek and Mike Beal.
How many starters do you think in this draft class? Definitely one.
Certainly Barton, right? And sticking with the offensive line.
Have a hard time starting, but he'll play.
I think Tyke Smith will start.
In the slot, you think?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
two.
Braswell.
Braswell, by the end of the season, I think there's a very good chance he'll start. I could see that Yaya Diaby path there. Or, you know what? If this kid just comes out of the gates, guns a-blazing, I mean, it's not like he's got to beat out Shaq Barrett. I mean, we're talking about Joe Trine-Schoink and Anthony Nelson here, and Randy Gregory, who hasn't played a down in red and pewter yet, so at 32 years old. So
McMillan?
That McMillan probably going to be that wide receiver 3, which is a starting position. So you're looking at 4. Don't count out, bad man Elijah Klein
by the end of the year,
or as I call him, Elijah Craig, because I think he's a whiskey drinker. I mean, it's only a matter of time. I'm 52. I've already called Liam Neeson on our podcast. I've already warned our pewter people watching our show. I'm like, I'm gonna either call him better than Ezra, or I'm going to call him Elijah Klein or Elijah Craig. So it's one of those things is coming. He's either going to be Ezra Klein or he's going to be Elijah Craig. So.
That's greatness right there.
Yeah, well, I get it.
Is it, or is it just old age?
I'm older than you. It's greatness.
Oh, come on now.
Oh, yeah.
What do you start calling them by your high school teammates' names?
How old are you, Tim? I'm curious.
53.
Oh, all right, barely. Okay.
Hey, older is older, okay?
Okay, all right.
You young children.
I feel so young now. Tim is 53.
You have better hair than me still, though. It's okay.
I'm having a good hair day because I'm getting a haircut today. It's always how it happens. Nice. Yesterday was not a good hair day, I don't think, but today it's going all right.
You and I both, though, have a kind of soft spot for the two undrafted free agents with the last names Culpepper and Ahanotu. That's a pretty cool deal. That's pretty.
It is. Ahanotu didn't make it. He was a tryout player, so they didn't sign him. Which Judge Culpepper is the real deal, though. This guy, if you're looking for a sleeper that might be defensive tackle number 6 this year, Judge Culpepper might be that guy. I mean, without getting vulgar, like his lower body is just dreamy. It's like his hips, his butt.
Are we talking about
his
big
thighs.
asses again?
Yes.
Right. That's okay.
I mean, it's like
that is a drop, by the way.
Yeah, his lower torso and trunk area, it just, I mean, he looks like a defensive tackle. Like Brad, his father, who struggled to maintain 270. It's hard to believe that he played nose tackle next to Warren Sapp at 270 pounds.
Especially when you see him now.
Yeah, and you see him now, he's like what, a $180? Yeah, exactly. He looks like more like Rondé Barber than he does a defensive tackle. But Judge Culpepper he's a big dude and just has got a lot of power to his game. 9 sacks last year at Toledo. I mean, it's competition is what it is, but I mean, 9 sacks for a defensive tackle, it's hard to do at any school, really. And this guy, started at Penn State after a couple of years there, transferred to Toledo, was the right fit for him, and he's a sleeper. Also, too. And I was literally, it's funny. I was texting Brad during practice. I'm like, hey, it's just surreal for me. I covered you and I'm here watching your son 29 years later. And it's just kind of like surreal. And then he's like, that's cool. Hey man, this guy had 9 sacks and I'm hoping, he sticks and this would be, great for him and all of that and great for us. And then I see during a water break, Judge like walks all the way over like where the equipment shed is. There's like a little row of pine trees, like some shrubs.
Right.
He goes over there and takes a leak, and I texted him and I said, Brad, remember like when you and Sap would go over at training camp and like piss on the fence, and I said, I said, yeah. I said, Judge is like a chip off the old block. He's doing the same thing, using the water break to go take a leak during practice. And he cracked up. And then I said, that's a veteran move by the rookie right there. He taught him well.
Well, it's not as bad as Sap actually doing it in the middle of the field, which we caught him on tape doing. It's not a pretty sight.
Here's a local.
The great Bob Hansen captured that one time. And he said, "You got to see this." And I'm like, "What?"
That probably didn't air on News Channel 8, did it?
I'm like, "Is he doing what I think he's doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, right through his uniform." I'm like,
he gave no Fs.
That's bad. I'm like, "Wow, the warm sensation."
Yeah.
So here's a local tie-in for you boys. Brad's grandfather, John Culpepper, was a famous trial attorney here in Denton, Texas, literally 10 minutes down the road from me.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. He I think he died. I mean, his name was always in the papers out here when I was a kid.
I remember when Brad got his law degree while he was a Buccaneer.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
That. It's one thing like, hey, went back to school, got my diploma. Okay, great. This guy's getting his law degree while playing the Minnesota Vikings the next week. I mean, like he, you know what I'm saying? Like that's some advanced level of crap right there. And kudos to Brad Culpepper for doing that. And then the sense of justice and legalese runs deep. I mean, his kids' names are Judge and Honor. So
yeah.
And Brad.
Awesome.
I remember when those kids were growing up, like if they didn't eat their vegetables, Dad put them in the blender and said, "Oh, you're not going to eat them. You can drink them."
You're going to drink
them. I mean, those kids were working out when they were 3 years old. They were getting the best food, the best everything, and they were getting pushed. So I'm like,
oh yeah,
this kid he knows football and he knows how to work hard and he is all business. And I would not put anything past Judge. I think that'll be a great story. I think he's at least. So I think he'll at least make the practice squad. He'll be around. He'll be around. He'll be wearing a uniform come training camp. Ain't no doubt about that.
I agree. That'll be cool to see for sure. So we got the schedule coming out tomorrow night. That's going to be cool.
What do you guys got for Pewter Report? You doing post schedule release podcast? Yeah,
we're going to do a podcast today at 4:00 talking about Tristan Wirfs, who's the next big Buccaneer deal to come down the pike sooner rather than later. And then tomorrow night at 8:00 when the schedule drops, we're going to have live instant reaction and analysis. You can find our podcast, our streaming podcasts, as well as our archived podcasts at Pewter Report TV, which is our YouTube channel. We just had 14,000 subscribers yesterday.
Congratulations. Awesome.
Appreciate that. So we hit the Chris Godwin number, moved on from Mike Evans, hit the Chris Godwin number. Now we're up to Jalen McMillan's number. We're going for 15,000 now. So, but you can find out all of the content. I do the Pewter Pulse videos. We have some great, cool video stuff up there on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. You can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram, on social media at Pewter Report. And the mothership, pewterreport.com. We've got, I think, 3 stories up already, getting ready to publish another one. So tons of off-season content. Pewter Report doesn't sleep. We cover the Buccaneers year-round, even during the summer. We find crap to write about.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Bucs are going back to Munich.
They could. They could. That's one of the things that's really interesting is they had such a great time there last time. Better Germany than England were there.
Did you go? I did
not go.
If they go, I'm gonna try to go this year. I have not been to a Bucs international game.
I didn't have the specific medical requirements that year to go, so I didn't go. So they wouldn't let me on the plane.
I like how you put that. That's very. It was nice of you the way you put it.
You weren't as creative as some of us. So
well, true, but at the same time, I didn't care.
Exactly.
I'm looking out for me, and
that's
so
probably the best decision you ever made, my friend.
Not regretting it one bit. Regretting it one bit. I will say this though, with regards to Germany, the interesting thing there is a couple years ago, as you know, the Buccaneers are one of 4 teams: the Patriots, the Chiefs, and Carolina, that are kind of like given to Germany as territory. Yeah, right. These are the territorial teams for Europe. These are the 4 German teams, and the Panthers will have a home game over there. So the good news is if the Bucs do go to Germany, it cost the Bucs a home game against Seattle last time around, which was 2 years ago. So you almost look at it and say, do you really want the Bucs going back to Germany so close to, the time that they were there. Well, this is a good opportunity because with the Panthers being a home game, and I think the Buccaneers would mind. And now you're kind of feeding that German fan base 2 out of the 4 teams in one game.
Right.
The Buccaneers made a whole slew of German fans from that experience over there. So now you've got that built-in base. Now you're introducing the Panthers over there too. This might be a nice little 1-2 shot for the league in Germany for them to do that. So I would not be surprised if that is one of the games.
And the Bucs are scheduled for 9 home games, right, this year?
They are, yes.
So typically, if you have scheduled for 9, one of them goes overseas, or they becomes
correct. Yeah, and because it was 2 years ago for the Bucs when they had 9. Then last year they had 8, and then this year the NFC teams have 9. So the Panthers are one of those teams that will lose a home game essentially. Where in other words, that will be the home game. And so I think it'd be kind of cool for the Bucs to go back there and try to get the 2-0 in Germany, because in England they just can't find a win. I think they were 0-3.
Yeah.
I was there the last time they lost to the Panthers. I remember Gerald
the beer's
McCoy.
way better in Germany. That's why we.
Yes.
Bucs are kind of a beer drinking crowd. So
correct. Although I'm a huge fan of Fuller's London Pride. It's one of my favorite beers.
Oh wow.
I love Fuller's
London Pride.
Fuller's London Pride. It's a great kind of like.
You have to drink at room temperature.
Do you have to? No. And usually the beer doesn't get to room temperature by the time you take it out of the fridge. Usually it's still cold by the time it's done. So
I used to be a Newcastle fan.
Good man.
Newcastle's pretty good. Yeah.
I like Newcastle.
I also like was it Belhaven, which is Scottish. I'm a big Guinness fan as well. I like some UK beer.
Bass Ale. Bass Ale is a UK beer, isn't it? London beer, Bass.
I know Boddington's is. I'm not sure about Bass Ale. I haven't heard of that one, but
it was a good one. I drank that for a long time until the IPAs came along. No, I'm
not an IPA guy.
At least
I'm not there yet.
I love IPAs.
I've graduated from like lager to pilsner to brown ales. Now I'm in red ale heaven right now. So I like Scottish ales. So
I'm still waiting for alcoholic Red Bull to come out, and I'm in.
When do we get the marijuana infused drinks? When is that coming?
Oh, they've got marijuana infused beer already.
They've already got it. It is not here already.
Where do you get that? Is it they sell it in the
Colorado, Oregon?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're the wrong state.
It's just down in Colorado. I missed out on that. All right.
Oklahoma.
All right, Scotty. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it,
guys. Thank you.
Chat with you next week. Thanks. Appreciate it. Great, Scott Reynolds, right there. Yeah, I missed out on the cannabis infused beer when I was.
It exists. So I hear.
Yeah, it's supposed to be all the rage. It's supposed to be on the way. It's going to replace liquor.
No, it won't. Not for me.
God, not happening. Liquor's so bad for you.
No,
liquor
it's so delicious.
So bad for you.
Wait, are we about to argue the benefits of weed versus liquor on your body?
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
Oh, alcohol's so much better for you
than weed.
Yeah.
Where? What?
Anything you got to put into your lungs is not good for your body.
Well, if you're drinking it, you're not putting it in your lungs.
Oh, okay. So you want to do liquid marijuana?
Weed.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to ingest marijuana.
So look. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. Monday night on the Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim show right here on FanStream Sports, we got into a discussion about suppository weed.
What? No.
So
we're not going there.
Take your pick.
Literally, not going there. No. All right, we got to hit a break for God's sakes.
Really? I don't know if we're still doing that or not.
Yeah, yes, we do. We got a lot to make up in this last hour. It's gonna be like 6:20. Oh my God!
Right.
All right,
9-hour
break coming your way. No, we'll keep it. We'll chop it up a little bit in the second half. TJ Reed's going to join us at 11:30. Quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group. JEEVESLawgroup.com. Was talking with Scott the other day. He is a tremendous attorney, folks, and he works his ass off and will work his ass off for you. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Don't go with these out-of-town firms, these huge firms that just make you a number. Go with the folks that live here, work here, and support all the local causes here. And that's Scott Jeeves and his group of attorneys at the Jeeves Law Group. JEEVESLawgroup.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Strike. 102.5 WHPT HD2 Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank. And I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a Get Acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the benefits, 5 calories per serving. I love the taste. I love the benefits. Amla fruit is in there, vitamin D, all kinds of. There's a mushroom blend that helps with inflammation. Certainly has helped me. My knees feel so much better since being rehydrated by Hydrate Heroes. And you can get a free 3-pack. Try hydrateheroes.com. Try hydrateheroes.com and enjoy all the great benefits. See, Tim's drinking his Hydrate Heroes right there.
I am drinking my mango ginger.
Your mango, is that your favorite?
It is, I think, so far, yeah.
Plum elderberry didn't do it for you?
I didn't like the elderberry. I mean, it wasn't bad. If that's all I got, that's what I'll drink. But
I will say this. If you're used to like the Gatorades and the high sugar drinks, the first time you taste Hydrate Heroes, you might be like, wow, it doesn't have a sweet taste to it. And I don't think it does. And that's kind of why I like it. But if you're used to high sugar drinks, the high hydration sugar drinks that have 200, 250 calories per bottle, it won't be like right off the top. I'll just be honest with you. I loved it right from the beginning. I love the taste because I don't like super sweet. If you love super sweet, which I know you do, Tim, you got that sweet tooth. But trust me, after a couple of tastes, I think you'll love it. That's my personal opinion. Absolutely love it. But if you're into the high sugar stuff, it'll be something that you will acquire a taste for. And you got to get off that stuff, Timmy. You can't be drinking that green Gatorade all the time. When you're hungover, okay, that's a maybe. But
so every day.
Well, there you go. So
see, I like my hydration drinks like I like my women. Super sweet.
Yeah.
And blonde.
Yeah. And green. Yeah.
And green. Sure. Whatever.
All the artificial stuff in there.
All artificial women.
Stuff, right? All the fake stuff.
I'll take them any way I can get them.
Yeah. Well, Rick says JP tried the suppository weed, went back second, third, and fourth opinion, said he didn't feel anything. Exit only for me. I'm not into any of that other stuff. No, thank you.
Even if it's medicinal?
Babies drink Guinness for iron? Do they really? Oh, those Irish people. They're the Irish. I was married to an Irish girl.
Ooh.
And her in-laws were way more fun than she was. My in-laws were way more fun than she was. And my mother-in-law, you'd say anything was wrong with the baby. We had the baby's calling and say, anything, just put a little whiskey on the lips. Rub a little whiskey right there. That'd be fine. That's whiskey on the whatever you call this upper thing.
On the gums, yeah, on your gums.
The gums. Yeah, that part was
how I was raised.
That was the cure for everything.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like the Greeks in Windex.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cure for everything. You just give a sip of whiskey. Like,
so my
6 months old.
My son's dating a Hispanic young lady. Mm-hmm. And he came in here. He goes, "Dad, do we have any Vicks Vapo Rub?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Oh, and by the way, she lives here with us with my son here." So he's like, "Well, she hurt her wrist." And I'm like, "Oh, like twisted it, sprained?" He goes, "Yeah, like she sprained it. She wants to rub some Vicks Vapo Rub on it." And I'm like, "No, dude, that's not what that does. That's not what that's for." He goes, "No, apparently, like they put it on everything. Like, have a sprained knee or something, they'll rub it on their knee." I'm like, "Oh, so it's like the Greek Windex thing." Like, he's like, "Her mom cleans her stove with it." I'm like, "What?" I've never heard that before.
Nope, never heard that one. Never heard that one.
I was like, "All right, well, it's under the cabinet. There you go."
Yeah, go get you some Vicks Vapo Rub.
Whatever.
No, I mean, so people do that, like weed suppositories?
Apparently it's a thing.
Okay.
I mean, I'll tell you right now.
Like the gummy works just fine. I mean,
so that's my preferred.
This entryway is way better in my opinion.
I just don't like to smoke stuff. I don't like crap in my
lungs.
I have asthma, so I don't like that. But I'll do the gummies. I will tell you this: it's supposed to be a lot stronger. It's supposed to be a lot more effective in suppository form. And if I was presented with some at one point, I might be tempted to try it. I'm just telling you. Anybody wants my address to send me some.
It's not like, I haven't had to use something of that sort, in the past. And it's like, I dread it. I just absolutely dread it. If you've ever had, it's not like I'm going in for a colonoscopy every week and a half, like, no, like who? No, thank you. No, thank you. I heard my last colonoscopy. This is a true story. So you don't kind of meet your doctor. They set it up. You go to the hospital. Yeah. Is what it is. So I'm, I go to the doctor. I go to the hospital, and doctor walks in, and it's a female. It's like a semi-attractive woman. I'm like, oh, great. And she's like, oh, I have lightning season tickets. I know who you are. I'm like, oh, great. Now,
wow.
Like, I don't want my doctor.
Let's make things worse.
Right. And then make it worse. Like the next week, I'm walking down the hallway of my building, and here she comes walking down the other way. I'm like,
and she goes in front of everybody. Oh, JP, I don't recognize you with your pants on.
Yeah, I dropped trowel and said, "Recognize me now?"
Yeah, here we go. You remember this?
It's like, how embarrassing. You know what? Like, that's not, no. Like, it's, no. I ain't messing around with all that.
Yeah, so I had a similar experience where I was going to get,
a gummy, a lolly. Have you tried the lollipops? The lollipops.
No, I haven't done that.
Yeah. No.
I just need something that works fast, man, because every time I try to do edibles and stuff,
it takes a while.
Dude, it takes all freaking night, man.
The lollipop was like within like 15, 20 minutes. We had a couple of those walking down the boulevard in Vegas.
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah. Las Vegas Boulevard. And that was that. Yeah. Ashley was not pleased with me with that. She's literally a third of my weight.
Right.
Anything. So that sphere got awful big for her. Like, really, he's like, I hate you. I'm like, come on, just roll with it.
Oh man, and then it's got like the emoji faces on it that are looking at you. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine that.
She was not happy with me.
Wow.
I'm like, I feel great. This is fantastic. This is great. And she's like, shut up. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would have such a fast effect on you. They don't make them for children's size, but yeah. All right, on to other stuff.
Please.
Well, wait, we got some people commenting.
Of course we do.
Babies drink Guinness for iron. Yeah, they do. The Irish will just put anything on. WD-40. Yeah,
right.
Not Vicks. That. Like WD-40 for everything. Yeah,
I've heard that.
Lubricant. If you need the suppository,
I need it in my knees.
WD-40. Stevie Nicks used anal cocaine for decades. Her nose cartilage burned out. Wow.
Dude, I will do anything Stevie Nicks tells me to do. I will tell you that right now.
Like like you think you have a problem if your nose can't handle the coke anymore?
Maybe you should
gotta do anal cocaine. Really? Like, is that not a sign? Like, maybe I should taper off.
Or is it a sign that you should have been doing it that way the entire time, and you were just doing it wrong?
Well, I guess it would be cheaper, right? If it works better. You don't need as much.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm not that sure how that works.
I don't know how cocaine works.
No. Bucs made new fans in Germany. Cue the line from Blazing Saddles. Is it what they say about you people?
I love that movie.
One of the great. Like, you go back and watch these movies now, especially some of these old comedies, and you're like, you can't make those anymore. You can't make those anymore. You can't do it.
Dude, I watched it with two of my teenage kids because they were always wanting to watch it with me. So I was like, fine, let's sit down and watch it. And I was like, my butt was clenching through some of the scenes because I'm like, oh, crap. I don't know. They've never heard these words before.
No. Yeah, Blazing Saddles. Go back. Go watch that. It's funny as hell, but cringy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break because we got to make up a little bit of money here in the second part. When we come back, there's a time for the Gator Miami game to open up the season. Bring your hydrate heroes because people will be dying in this one. Quick break. We'll be back with some of those. We're brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you have a big event coming up or a small event, charity event of any type, Extravaganza Productions can help you give it that professional touch, come up with great ideas for you. Get a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. Just go to their website, extravaganzaproductions.com. Check them out. Go check out the warehouse and all the props they have there. Really cool spot. And get some ideas for your event. It's Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Work with them many, many times. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. It's Diamond Days at the Gold and Diamond Source because April's birthstone is diamonds. As they take center stage, get up to 20% off all diamond jewelry. And our first-time buyers program will help you get educated about the 4 C's and all the different shapes and styles. And remember, you only want natural diamonds, folks. It takes billions of years to form a natural diamond. You don't want something that was made in a factory just a couple of weeks ago. And remember, your Golden Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. You can always trade up at the Golden Diamond Source for a bigger, better one. And they will spend the time to educate you about your diamonds and how to take care of them. And of course, consider the Golden Diamond Source to maintain and insure your jewelry. They can professionally clean it, check the settings, and make any necessary repairs to keep your jewelry in top condition. It's the 40th anniversary of the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Testosterone Tuesday. All right, so we got some kickoffs here, bro. We got some kickoffs for the upcoming season. Miami and Florida will kick off at 3:30 on. Let's see if they get the exact.
You're talking college, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is on August 31st.
Oh, wow.
In the Swamp at 3:30.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be good, and half the fans will be deceased by the end of the game.
Give me Florida by 3.
Miami's. I'll tell you what, Miami's talented. No, that's going to be.
I like Miami. I think they've got a deep roster. They've got a good roster, but man, I am no longer a believer in Mario Cristobal.
Me neither.
He has destroyed that team.
Yeah,
I had such high hopes for him, man.
When you say, because he didn't take a knee. Look, if you're not taking a knee in that situation for the second time, he did that, by the way.
Yeah. Did it at Oregon.
That is a open sign of you do not have your details in order. You do not have your priorities in order. Do you not have your details in order? You are not a well-coached team. That is an outward sign of a lot of shenanigans going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You just are not buttoned up. And you cannot be like that in this day and age. It's too many well-coached teams, too many talented teams. And I agree. Until Miami shows me they can put their talent to work and have good chemistry and have a good culture and win games, then I'm not a believer. They got the talent. They no doubt about that. But it takes a little bit more than that these days, boys. So Florida State and Georgia Tech in Dublin, that will be a noon on August 24th to kick off the season. Cannot wait for that.
Yep.
August 30th will be TCU at Stanford, 10:30 at night on August 30th. And then August 31st, we're going to get Clemson in Georgia and Atlanta in the air-conditioned dome at noon. And then at 3:30, that's a doubleheader. Clemson, Georgia, Miami, and Florida. Two soon to be out of the ACC teams.
Yeah,
it's 2 SEC teams, 2 future Big Ten teams out of the against SEC teams. Interesting. Boston College at Florida State. It's going to be a 7:30 game in Doak Campbell Stadium, September 2nd, or what's left of Doak Campbell Stadium, September 2nd. You got Notre Dame at Texas A&M, August 31st at 7:30 on ABC.
Yep.
So they come to your Aggie land there, Notre Dame.
I'll be there.
Notre Dame preseason top 10 team. They've got
weird. That's weird to me.
No, they got Riley Leonard at quarterback, who I think a hell of a player. And they're Notre Dame's got some talent, and I think they're a little bit better coached than some of these other teams like Miami. And then September 1st, LSU versus USC. That's going to be in Vegas at 7:30. That should be a good one. So cannot wait for college football to get here. Please.
Oh,
Give me
man,
some
I'm
of
ready.
that.
I love college football, but unfortunately, it means the end of my social life on the weekends.
Yeah, right.
With all the teams I cover, it's pretty much sun up on Saturday until sundown, and then by the time Sunday rolls around, it's NFL coverage, and all my friends on Monday are like, "Hey, what'd you do over the weekend?" But I'm still doing it. I don't know.
Not the anal weed or cocaine. That's
I'm not
for sure.
doing suppositories. That's for dang sure. Although if I could get college football in suppository form, I might do that too.
Boy, that leaves a lot of lines open right there. It
does.
Well, if you're a Florida State fan, you certainly took it up to Flupus last year. So
Man,
there you go.
You're used to it over there, huh?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we took it up to Flupus, all right.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I'm just waiting for that moment when Mike Norvell steps on the set of College Game Day with Kirk Herbstreit. And if he doesn't have a couple lines ready for them, I'm going to be really disappointed. Now, Mike's way too classy, but if it were me, I'd be like, I know what you guys did. You know what you did. And I'm not here to play nice or to somehow, give you the credibility that I'm okay with it or we're okay with it.
Yeah.
F you, F you, F you, and F you. And all your people back at home that F'd us. Peace out. I'm going to go have a Guinness. If he doesn't do that, I've lost all respect for you, Mike Norman. That's what I would do. But he's way more classy and smart than me. But that's what I would do. All right, we got TJ coming up, so let's take another quick break. Sorry, we have to do this, but we gave you an hour plus.
Yeah, we did.
Commercial free. And they're only 3-minute breaks. So please listen to our sponsors. Be nice to our sponsors. Go on their websites. Go call them. Tell them you love the show. Thanks for being a sponsor of the JP.
Be nice to us, too.
Yeah, be nice to us, too. We'll be back in 3. TJ,
are you looking to be more productive and healthier? Do you know chronic dehydration affects your overall health and well-being? 75% of the U.S. population suffers from dehydration, and many of us don't even know it. That was me before I was introduced to Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the benefits with hydration. A beverage with benefits more than just hydration. That's right, 8 times the benefits with hydration. Hydrate Heroes provides a refreshing, great-tasting beverage powder to mix with water, providing elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, electrolytes, amla fruit, which provides a great source of vitamin C, along with a proprietary mushroom blend that has shown to help increase endurance and energy at the cellular level. Hydrate Heroes is so confident you're going to love the taste and the results. They are offering our listeners a special offer, a free 3-pack sample, no credit card needed. Just go to the jppetersonshow.com, the jppetersonshow.com, and click on Hydrate Heroes logo. Hydrate for health today with Hydrate Heroes.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you were thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Get your testosterone right on Testosterone Tuesday. Get your immune system right. Get all your health right. They keep you healthy, not just get you healthy when you get sick. Proactive medicine, personalized medicine at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. I just texted with Chris Lugo. He's not going to come on today. He'll join us on Thursday. I said, hey, but he's a big Gator fan. I said, bring your own IV to that opener. Be hooking up people at halftime, just like
we need to be asking him about suppositories.
I'll tell him we'll put it on the topic list. With that, let's bring in our good friend DJ Reeves.
He's in the building.
Yeah. I don't know if you've been listening to the show today, but it's gone in some very weird directions.
With the segues, always with the segues. I caught you at the beginning, so I'm ready on all avenues. I love the takes about Tom Brady and whether or not he will be critical or not on Fox.
What do you think?
What do you think? Games. Let's get right into it. I mean, the first thing is that is the challenge. And Tim, I thought you made a great point on Troy Aikman. When you go from being interviewed and press conferences and prompted with questions to now you have to volunteer out of what you're seeing, analysis, and criticize if somebody does it wrong. And it took Troy Aikman a little bit. People don't realize and remember, I do this because I do many different things. You know, I got a lot of hats behind me. I have a lot of figurative hats and a lot of literal hats. So I do sports media. And when Aikman began, he began with Dick Stockton doing select like D-E-F games, not the A game or the B game to kind of cut his teeth.
It wasn't on the A team yet. Nope.
And then the A team included Chris Collinsworth, who was much more experienced in the booth, having done it at NBC for a go around before. And so they hired Collinsworth when NBC had lost the National Football League. They hired Collinsworth and they put him in the booth with Aikman. And I think it made Troy more comfortable for the first couple of years. For all time, the NFC title game win by the Buccaneers in Philly that you were there for is Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Chris Collinsworth on the call. So it kind of made it easier in the transition for Aikman that the first couple of years he had Collinsworth with him. Then they eventually put Collinsworth in the studio for the Fox NFL Sunday show. And then eventually Sunday Night Football went back to NBC that created it. And Collinsworth is back in the booth where he is very critical. So anyway, roundabout way of saying, will he criticize early? Will he be willing to be critical of former players?
Yeah,
probably not right away and probably not in the first year. But this is fascinating because he's going to be on their biggest games. And he's eventually,
because he goes right into the fire.
He's going to work the Super Bowl, obviously, for them in a couple of years. So,
well, if he's still there, is this thing going to last that long? Like, that's my question. How long is he going to stick with this?
This is not something that we're familiar with. You, me, and JP. He signed a $300+ million broadcasting deal to do this deal with Fox. Yeah. I don't see any way that he's walking away from that in a year. Now, year 4, does he still want to do this in year 6 in 2030? I don't know. But for right now, Tim, I like what you said as well, that you're all about the brand and you're all about pumping revenue in the brand.
Right.
And we've taken some hits. I'm just saying we in the fun figurative sense with the collapse of the crypto of the FTX. We've taken some hits with the divorce. So you got to pump the brand back up and pump some money back into it. et cetera, et cetera. So
I don't think has been very successful.
And I think that's gone sideways, by the way.
I think it has too. I heard, because they were taking some shots at that going bankrupt.
Right.
Right.
So again, if you've got a $300 million guarantee from Fox, you're not walking away from that. You might negotiate, okay, I'm not in the booth anymore. I'm now in the studio like you guys were talking about. But he's going to be their guy, their star. Make no mistake about it. They're going to market around him, and let's see how critical Tom Brady might or might not be.
He must be a little desperate for money because he got paid $24 million to get roasted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that to me, that was like, wow. I was kind of surprised Brady signed up for that.
I'd have done it for $10 million personally.
And they'd have a lot more material.
I would have probably a couple less zeros and have no problem with it. Yeah. I don't know.
$100.
But again, with ownership, which he currently has with the Raiders, the Aces, and that whole conglomerate, he's on to the different parts of his life. I heard you briefly mention it. I don't consider any of this real about I'd love to play again. Sure, would you love to step out there in the fourth quarter one more time and try to win a game? Of course he would. But he's now about to be 47 years old. And all the things that go into playing in a season or even half a season, just don't see it. What do I know? Don't see it.
I think he's too competitive to stay in the booth. I think he's going to want to be a GM like John Lynch, get back in the game in terms of winning and losing. Who was it? I forget who was it. Rome. Somebody said it's like you don't keep score in the broadcast booth.
That's right.
You could look at the ratings, I guess, but that's more generated by the games than they are the announcers.
Yeah.
So I think he's too competitive to just stay in the broadcast booth. I don't know. I didn't even think he would.
Remember when all of this was done? This was done after he retired at the end of the 2021 season.
Yeah, he was supposed to start
last year. They did this deal, and he was supposed to be the star of their 2022 season and do the Super Bowl with Kevin Burkhardt.
Right.
And then suddenly he does the March 180, the month of March, of now I'm going to come back and play. And Fox is going, wait, what? Huh? You're going to do what? And so now we're going to let Greg Olson, who had worked with Burkhardt before that, be promoted to that spot. And he's been in a difficult, keep the seat warm, understudy, now promoted to being the person for a year or two. And hey, whenever TB12 is ready, you're kicked to the curb. I mean, there was no mention of him at all yesterday. He was not there at the Fox up front or anything. Yeah.
He has to be better than anything Tom Brady could ever throw out there. I love Greg Olson.
I think he's great. And
you got the opportunity because this just into the newsroom. Fox is going to do like 7 or 8 Cowboy games, so you got a chance the last couple of years to see a whole lot of Greg Olson if you're watching the Cowboys on Fox. And Brady's got to be ready for that. I mean, he's going to be around Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, and that whole crew, all of those guys over and over and over again, because that is the bell cow
week 1
for Fox.
Yeah,
right. Starting with week 1.
And I think there were 2 separate occasions last season where Burkhardt and Olson did 2 Cowboys games in a row. Like they did that consecutively twice last season. Yeah.
Yes, correct. And you're going to do the Thanksgiving game, and you're going to do premier regular season games that aren't in prime time. They're going to be doing them over and over again. So there you go.
And I see these, with the broadcast rights and deals, right now, these networks are really trying to find, even with the NFL, how do we make money? How do we make money? And you're paying a guy $34 million a year, whatever it is, in Brady. and he's just announcing the games. Like I don't see he bringing value to the broadcast in terms of more viewers? I mean, are chicks like tuning in to see his dimples? I don't think so. Well, how do you justify that? I know you need big voices. I get that, but
what's incredible
is great.
Right. And you know what's incredible? This is more money than he will have made in any single season playing, winning Super Bowls to broadcast the game and take the headset off at the end of it and go do whatever you want for 2 or 3 days until you reload for the next week. That's amazing. Great work if you can get it.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of other broadcasters in the NFL on TV, analysts, etc., that are applauding and cheering what he was able to get out of Fox because it gave everybody else a raise.
Yeah, but then they have to, at ESPN, they give people big money and then they have to fire half the other guys.
half the people that are making 1/10 of that money or 1/20th or 1/30th of that money to have a living and survive.
This just in. Money is all going to the top, and the little guys getting effed.
Yeah.
Even in the football. Yeah.
We've
Great.
heard of
All
that
right.
before.
So Bucs schedule comes out tomorrow.
Right.
Are you going to Munich?
So
again?
we already know something. I don't know about international game. Now, several people have said with 9 home games, usually that's where you end up with an international game. But it should be pointed out the Bucs have repeatedly played international games, including the Munich game 2 years ago. So who knows on that? We currently know who it's not for week 1. We start the detective work. The Bucs are on the Cowboys schedule. We know it's not the Cowboys. They're on Kansas City's road schedule. Baltimore comes here. Those 2 teams play each other, so we know it's not them. You like my detective work on a Tuesday?
Like what you're doing,
on the FanStream JP show? All right, we now know the 49ers are hosting the Jets. That was announced this morning, Monday Night Football opener.
All right.
And the 49ers are coming here. So
the Eagles are going to Brazil.
Eagles are in Brazil, so you know that's not week 1.
Right.
So we've now narrowed down like 5 or 6 teams that it's not out of the, what is it? Help me with my math. 14 teams because you played 3 of them twice.
Right.
So out of the 14, we've eliminated like 6 that it's not. I wonder if it's a division game.
Right.
Or is it maybe at Detroit? Some people are theorizing that maybe it's a playoff rematch at Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
That could be an interesting one. Or is it a home game or not?
I don't want a home game to start. Too hot.
We'll see. Well, I agree with you. I mean, my God, last year we were in Minnesota for the opener. And in fact, if you keep going back, I mean, the previous year you were in Dallas because you were off the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, you weren't off the Super Bowl. Off the Super Bowl, you were the Thursday night home game with the Cowboys. You did the Cowboys 2 years in a row, home with Bruce Arians, and you won on Thursday night. And then the first game for Todd Bowles was in Dallas on the opening Sunday night. And then last year, you're on the road in Minnesota. They'll probably give the Buccaneers a home game now that you analyze it. You give them 2 road games.
Air conditioned at the stadium there at Raymond
James? No, not any air conditioning.
No.
What?
No, the press box is. No,
the press box is. Yeah,
he's on the field.
Why do I care about that? I'm down where it's a walk down on the field. All I need is a little soy sauce and some mixed vegetables and cook me up. Is what I am in September. 1 o'clock games, especially. So yes, we root for the later games.
I want to start at Atlanta. Week 1, Cousins versus the 3-time defending NFC.
That would be
champs.
That would be fascinating.
Dome in Mercedes.
That would be fascinating.
Atlanta. That's a great start. I think that's where we're going. I think that's it. And
I'm thinking back because the 2020 start, Brady's first game with no fans was in New Orleans. So that's the last time you've started with a division opponent.
3 dome games in a row to start the season.
Yeah.
Trend.
So
get the hell out of the Florida Heat. Yes.
I'm with you.
I'll take a road game to start. I'll take 2 road games to start. And the less 1 o'clock September, October games, the better.
And by the way, at the risk of being accused of being a biased, slanted cheerleading, we also like to spew facts. Did we or did we not say over and over and over again last season and before free agency began, in Jason Light and that staff we trust? And now you have another long-term deal with Antoine Winfield to get him locked up, get him paid, on top of getting Mike Evans paid, on top of getting Baker Mayfield paid, and eventually you're going to get Tristan Wirfs paid. And before that, you got Chris Godwin paid. So over and over and over again, you have taken care of your guys and fit this in under the cap.
We got Jordan Whitehead back.
And you get Jordan Whitehead back, and you get a draft where you get some help. We believe at center, at pass rusher, at defensive back. So there's a lot to be optimistic about. And, again, this is for all the naysayers on, the Bucs aren't going to be able to keep these guys. You should, I heard over and over again, you've got to trade Mike Evans before the season begins. You got to trade him at the deadline. You're not going to get anything for him. Wrong.
Yep.
So they're able to get those guys back in the fold. Now, that doesn't mean anything. When we get to this schedule, when it's released tomorrow night, it starts 0 wins, 0 losses. So you got to start all over with the work. But I would rather go to work with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Antoine Winfield happy. Tristan Wirfs will eventually be happier. He's making big money in the 5th year of his contract as a left tackle on the average of the
Levante David. Let's not forget about him.
Levante back.
Yeah.
Jordan Whitehead, as you mentioned, back in the fold. The draft
Kevin
picks
White's
you've got.
gone. That's addition by subtraction.
You have some addition by subtraction. There is no doubt.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of optimism, and they have repeatedly demonstrated they will manage the cap and take care of their guys. Bravo.
And I'm telling you, they got a center for the next 12 to 15 years. A guy that's going to make the Pro Bowl.
Graham Barton, right? We hope so.
Yeah. I like that. You see him how nimble
everything that we see right now says he could be really good for a long time, but we got to see it. We got to see it in the NFL. So, but there's a lot of reason for optimism right now.
All right, college basketball guru that you are.
Yeah.
Are you? By the way, are you paying $1,500 a ticket to sit 5 rows back at Caitlin Clark's inaugural game tonight?
How about that? And we talked about that. Remember, we talked about this and what would it mean? Here's what you need to know. Again, putting together the sports media part of this. You know the reason why the NBA, it's ESPN and trying to figure out with the NFL, when can we do the schedule release? Right. And the NBA playoffs had a big part of it, but also these 2 games for Caitlin Clark tonight in Connecticut and her home opener against the New York Liberty on Thursday night, they are a big deal for ESPN. And they realize could this be blasphemy? It may outdraw the Knicks Pacers.
Wow.
It could. There are that many more. Think about this now. Casual sports fans, non-sports fans, and women that are going to tune in to watch this because they're marketing the daylights out of it everywhere to the non-hardcore NBA playoff basketball fan.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I would not bet against there being 6, 7, 8 million people tonight on ESPN2. And for the home opener on Thursday, same thing, because it was just a month ago. They're riding the wave. They're riding the momentum. They had 20 million people watching. I know it was network TV on the Sunday afternoon. 20 million people watching the title game with Iowa and South Carolina.
Unbelievable.
So to think that this is going to have like 1.3 million watching tonight, think again. There are a whole lot of teenage girls, a whole lot of middle-aged women that aren't sports fans. There's a whole lot of casual sports fans that probably don't watch the NBA religiously that are going to tune in to see these first couple of games. I'm not saying they're going to have 6, 7, 8 million from here on out in the NBA, WNBA regular season when she's playing games. But you want to get on, here we go again. You want to get on the train tracks and get run over right now and act like they're not going to have audience? They're going to have audience for this.
Is that game tonight? Is her debut tonight?
So, so there's a game tonight. Right. Her debut is in Connecticut tonight on ESPN2.
That's the WNBA, home opener, right?
WNBA. The home opener is Thursday night where they play the New York Liberty. So how about this? You got Indiana, New York, Game 5 NBA tonight. Then on Thursday night, the Indiana Fever playing the New York Liberty, Indiana, New York in the WNBA. And then Friday night in the same building is Knicks Pacers Game 6 in Indianapolis. So it's going to be quite a week for Indiana and New York.
Man, I got no Mavericks tonight. I got no Stars tonight. We got Rangers in Cleveland at 7:05. I might bypass Rangers in Cleveland to go watch me some Caitlin Clark tonight.
And you're not alone. By the tens of thousands and by the hundreds of thousands, there are people that are going to do exactly what you said. I will tune it in. I will turn it on. And ESPN2 and the WNBA are very smartly putting it on at 7 Eastern time before the NBA game begins for the Knicks and the Pacers. It doesn't begin till after 8 Eastern time. So you get a little window there.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what this
Bruins
does.
Panthers tonight, 7:00 on ESPN.
By the way, look for the Panthers to close that one out. Do you know the Bruins are 0-25 all time in 7-game series down 3-1? 0-25 all time.
I know that now. What did you say? 0-25?
0-25 all time when down 3-1 in a 7-game
The Boston
series.
Bruins.
The Bruins.
So you're saying it's over. O-V-A-H. It's over. And we're looking at the Florida Panthers back in the Eastern Conference Final. Let's see.
I have them to win the cup.
We said 2 weeks ago when they eliminated the Lightning, young, fast, hungry team, and they got all the way to the Stanley Cup Final last year. So this is not a surprise to anybody that's been paying attention to the hockey that they could be this good here again on the come around. And We'll see what happens.
I don't want to buy every chance I get to say.
No one's getting past my Stars, though. No one's getting past.
All right, I see the jersey. I see the Mike Madonna jersey.
Boston, once again, the Braves proved that again last night. They have drubbed the Red Sox the last 3 years. They were showing the
what did I see? Have they beaten them more than any other team has beaten them in that 3-year stretch?
Yeah.
It's like 45 wins head to head.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's
totally
a lot. And Boston the Bruins completely tanked the last week of the season so they wouldn't have to play the Lightning. And it was as transparent as they weren't even faking it. It was like 15 shots I think in their last game in the first 2 periods against some
when they were playing keep away to not shoot the puck.
Exactly. It's like okay, we get it. You want to go play. You want to get a first round.
Well, I mean,
win.
if you're the NHL
though.
If you're the NHL, you want the Rangers. You want the Rangers playing the Bruins. That's the bigger markets. That's the Northeast. But they could. I mean, you talk about choke factor. If Carolina beats Boston, if to make it 3 games apiece.
Yeah.
If Carolina beats the Rangers to make it 3 games apiece. Now with a game 7 in New York after New York was up 3-0. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
So in any event, so Timmy, in that market, I'm just curious about this real quick. The Mavericks lose last night. The Stars right now are in great shape to move on. Is it registering?
It's all over the place, dude. It is everywhere, especially because they're playing on the same night. Every night. No, it is huge here. The Stars have always gotten a tremendous amount of support, since their Cup days in the late 90s, and they put, hockey on the map here when they moved here from Minnesota in 94. And the town, this whole area has always supported the Stars very, very well. The Mavericks, of course, were the redheaded stepchilds because they didn't have any titles or anything and never came close till 2006 when they lost to the Heat, and then 2011 when they beat the Heat. But both teams get a huge amount of support around here. There's Cowboys players posting stuff on social media about both teams wearing Stars jerseys or Mavericks jerseys, and it's all over the place, man. It's a fun time right now.
So tomorrow night, again in the dynamic, it's Game 5 Stars at home in Dallas. But at the same time, this is idiocy by the NHL. Why did they do this? Why did they not at least later in the series spread it out? At the same time, the Mavericks are playing at Oklahoma City in what's now a critical Game 5, 2-2 each.
Killing your ratings.
And you're killing the audience for the hockey because there's going to be more people watch the basketball.
Yeah, silly. Has Luka and Kyrie been hanging around Dak?
I don't know.
You get that postseason infection. It's like, hey Dak, what do or like, hey Luka, what are you doing? It's the postseason. You're playing Dallas. You're supposed to quit at this point. Oh, that's right.
So did you know that last night's Mavericks Thunder game was the first game NBA playoff game in history. Both teams attempted 20 free throws. One team shot better than 95%, and one team shot worse than 55%.
Interesting. So the Mavericks missed all their free throws, is what you're saying.
52.2% as a team in free throws. That's what cost you the game.
All I know is Mark Cuban sold the bulk of the of the share of the team, right? He's like a minority owner now. So he cashed out for billions. But the look on his face when Oklahoma City put it on him to get the series back 2-2 instead of 3-1 was like somebody just stole his dog right in front of him. So we'll see. We'll see for that. But it's a great time to be a Dallas sports fan. Let us not forget the Rangers are the defending World Series champs.
That's right.
So there's a lot to be encouraged about in that market. And now,
don't be surprised if Bruce Bochy doesn't pull a hammy walking up the steps of the dugout because everybody's hurt right now, except for him. It seems
for the Rangers.
Yeah.
All right, TJ, got anything you're promoting these days?
We're all good. We're all good. Let's see what happens with the schedule release for the Buccaneers and for the rest of the NFL. I'm interested for that. I'm interested on how these Caitlin Clark games will do here for all of this. And other than that, onward, my friend.
Always great having you on, man.
Listen, and by the way, I have gotten several comments, and I'm sure you got a couple too, about the nostalgia and the Channel 8 Tiger Woods stuff and the debacle.
That went over big.
And I say again to the audience, that's the kind of stuff that you're going to get on this program because this guy has been in the market for a long time. He and I both. And there are a lot of stories to go back and forth on.
Teaser, when we get another Munich game from the schedule next week, let's talk about – I've got some great Allstott in Tokyo stories. And I believe you have some Allstott in Munich stories as well. So.
Munich, London, the different players go in different directions.
The Allstott Tokyo stuff is he might
I don't have any info, but there are 2 Christmas Day games. And I already did the Christmas Day thing on the road in the Arizona desert back in 2022. Christmas night, actually.
Yeah. Oh God.
Can we stay off the Christmas holiday, especially it's a Wednesday?
Mrs. Reeves would prefer that.
No, yes. Not interested.
Happy Mother's Day, by the way.
Not a fan. Right. Yes. To the moms.
Yes.
And by the way, just on the Brady roast, I know I have to leave. I got something in common with Drew Bledsoe because Bledsoe got off the crack to Tom Brady that he had just celebrated his 28th anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
He and I,
that's
28 years.
Happy anniversary, my friend.
Bledsoe, a few more zeros.
Yeah.
Though in the bank account, such is life. On that, but what a line that somebody, one of those writers, wrote for him that I have something you'll never have. 28th anniversary with my wife.
It's bad.
But they sat there and took it.
They did.
They sat there and took it, and they're making their money.
24 million, I'll take it. Absolutely.
They're making their money. You boys be well. Always good to be with you.
All right. That was quite the show today. Very, very eclectic group of things. We went from anal marijuana to anal cocaine. Colonoscopies. Yeah, it's not football season, folks. You never know what you're going to get on this show. That's for damn sure. All right, and more fun to come. Trust me. All right, thank you, Timmy. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's FanStream Sports, the JP Peterson Show. We're also a podcast. We're on 102.5 live each and every day on their HD2 station. We're everywhere. Please like and share and tell everybody about 2 hours of Tampa Bay sports-centric talk every day. We'll see you tomorrow with more fun and frivolity.